Hey, how's it going, everybody? So, have you thought about with your retirement how you can make a budget and possibly design your dream retirement lifestyle, right? And that's where you would want to consider all of the things that you plan to do in retirement, vacations you may want to take, any extra travel, all those things, and you figure out what that number is going to look like and you try to budget accordingly. Part of the reason that this is important is because if you've got things that you want to get done, specifically in retirement, you need to have them planned for financially. And a lot of people don't do that. And then they realize, oh crap, I can't do the things that I wanted to do. So we're going to go over some things and help you plan better, hopefully. So it will help you identify how to get to your number for what it's going to cost you to do the things you want to do while you're retired. Now, obviously, the first step is you got to assess your current financial situation. What do I have put away? What am I going to have coming in? What is it going to cost approximately to live the retirement lifestyle and cover all my bills to begin with? And then from there, you can branch out into the bigger things that you want to do with your retirement time, whether that's giving your kids and grandkids college money, helping them with down payments on houses, taking them on trips, going on trips yourself, international travel, buying a different motorcycle, buying a new car. All those things need to be figured in to have an idea what it's going to cost you to have this life. And if most people don't take the time to consider a lot of the options, and I think it's important so that you don't fail while you're in retirement and then have to go back to work versus wanting to go back to work to have some social interactions and to make a little extra money. And of course, that would include, making and analyzing your current finances with your certified financial planner if you have one, or getting one, doing an analysis of the income, the expenses, the assets, your liabilities, what they all are worth, where they stand, how much money they could potentially pay you. Maybe you have an annuity that you want to do so that you can factor in that. Maybe it's a pension, Social Security, your wife or spouse's income, I apologize. Whatever that may be, you need to know what those numbers are and how much you have to work with, and that way you can plan around the expenses you want to have when you're retired too. That's how you make room for the extra things, is knowing what you have, where you can spend, and how you're going to get there. Now, there's also a lot of tools out there that can help you figure out some of these things, and I have found a lot of the best ones that I've used on NerdWallet is one of the more popular ones. The Social Security Administration site has a lot of things to help you figure out incomes and balances. There's some great metrics out there and calculators that will tell you how much interest you're going to make on X amount of dollars over X amount of time, all the kinds of things. And then you punch in your numbers so that you can come up with the idea of what it's going to be. And you also need to consider what these costs of extra expenses may be besides your monthly cost of living expenses. Those are important to understand. So for instance, if you're planning to take 2 vacations a year and each vacation costs $5,000, so that's $10,000 that needs to come to your budget somehow to pay for those trips. Is it going to come from you have enough extra in your monthly budget with your income? Is it going to come from your 401k distribution? Is it going to be coming from a lump sum that you have set somewhere else that you're just going to withdraw from? One of the things my mom does with her 401k distribution is she gets it twice a year in a lump sum, and she uses that to either buy something she really wants. She can use it to take vacations. She currently got her most recent one is coming in April, and she will use that. She likes to put it away in case her air conditioning unit goes out in her house. She likes to make sure she's prepped for that stuff in case it breaks. She doesn't want to have to go without air, and it's an expensive fix. So it helps serves as an emergency fund for her. Otherwise, she uses it for paying off credit card that she might have run up during the last few months to buy some extra things that she didn't want to pay out of pocket for or have cash for at the time, whatever it might be. But knowing where that money's going to come from makes it a lot easier to plan for. One of the things I remember Tony Robbins talking about years ago in his stuff was that once you know what your numbers are, once you know what your dream retirement or life looks like, All you have to do is put that number away. Have that number prepared financially to make that dream come true. And once you know what that number is, you can do everything in your power to work towards it. So coming up with that number is going to make a difference. If you can afford to save from your retirement income sources, the monthly things, pension, Social Security, etc., to pay for any of these extras and to continue to build a bigger emergency fund or cash withdrawal fund, that's even better. But knowing that you have that money sitting somewhere to account for this dream that you have makes it a lot more comforting when you get ready to make your plans. So let's get a little bit more specific, that you need to envision what your ideal retirement is going to look like. And everybody has their own vision. Our personal retirement right now for my wife and I to have is we're going to be retired in Florida, debt-free, having everything we need and can afford paid for monthly out of my pension and her income as a teacher still, and to build up and save for future things with that extra income, because we literally can afford to pay for all of our expenses with just my pension right now. And then at some point, possibly taking Social Security and investing that money for the future farther down the road for her and to help my kids and their grandkids, or my grandkids, when that time comes as well. So you need to get specific about what it is you're looking to do. What activities do you enjoy that you want to do? How are you going to spend your time? Do you want to travel? How often and where? We do plan to do more international travel once we are retired. We have a system set up to pay for that. With my wife's teacher salary, we can pay for some of those trips, and we need to plan around that for now. Because she's a teacher, we have to go during her spring breaks and Christmas and summertime. But that's something we've already kind of figured into the balance and said, okay, we can do those things and continue to live our life without dipping into any of our big assets for income. And then, of course, we also will have to and will continue to help pay for my daughter's college bill when it comes due, until she's more on her feet and can absorb that debt on her own. And one of the things to make sure that you do is make sure you're figuring all of your monthly expenses. A lot of people miss transportation expenses, like not just gas, but insurance, titling, new plates and stuff, whatever, as they come up every year. Healthcare, what your out-of-pockets are going to be, how much that's going to cost you, what your insurance costs may be. Right now, we have our insurance spread out. I cover my daughter and I on my policy because she's still free on mine. My wife is on her own policy in Florida because as an employee, her health care is free. And then when I leave my job and go down there, I will get put on her policy, my daughter and I both. So that expense is going to go up because her insurance does cost more than mine does, but it's better insurance. But that's a cost that we have to, include when we're figuring out monthly budgets. But that cost will be deferred out of mine as well. So I will no longer have to pay for insurance. I won't be contributing to my HSA, and we'll redirect those funds to build my wife's HSA, etc. But car repairs need to be figured in as part of your transportation expenses, your housing and housing insurance. But little things like that add up that you don't pay attention to until the bill comes, and then it's like, oh crap. One of the things NerdWallet and some of the other companies are making big on is checking your subscriptions. How many of those do you have, and do you know how much they are and how much comes out every month? You might have a couple $100 saved up in there that you don't even realize you're spending. So all those things need to be accounted for so you can make this lifestyle work. And when we figure in our budget and our income, I'm also not averse to working part-time or even a full-time gig if need be to help offset and increase our income to do some of the other things we want to do. We have a lot of different travel things planned, nothing too far out, but we have ideas of what we want to do and where we want to go. And then, of course, we also want to be able to travel back as much as we can to see my son and his wife and the grandbaby. So the expense I'm incurring now to go see my wife and daughter, we will just flip to include me and my wife, so we can come up north again to see the grandbaby. So all those things need to be considered, and we've kind of planned on that as well. So the final thing I would say is just to offer you to sit down and get real about what you want, what you expect, and then get real about what it's going to cost, and figure in some inflation, because it's going to go up. It continues to go up. 3 and 5% is not going to be unheard of at these times. With the things that are going on with the economy right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it's up, more than 3 or 5%. I shouldn't say 3 or 5, 3 to 5, somewhere between here and there, even this year, because with tariffs and retaliatory things going on and the silly mess, the stock market's already reacting kind of horribly. So we just have to ride that out a little bit right now and not panic, but be prepared and plan on what that's going to cost. I can say for sure my pension does not adjust annually for inflation. So whatever my number is, that's going to be my pension number. And that's my pension number for life. And my wife, it'll be my wife's number for life. So 20 years from now, when pension has basically been she's still getting the $2,500 a month from my pension, it'll only be worth about $500. But the point is that you have to have those things in consideration as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take these tips and run with them if you can. Meet with somebody who knows what they're talking about. I'm not a financial expert by any means. I'm just spouting off common sense, math, and budgetary ideas that make sense. So try using some of those. Look into some of the resources that I mentioned at NerdWallet and the SSA and some of the other ones, and consult your advisor and see if they can help you get you on the right path. Thanks for watching. Leave a like or a comment. I appreciate it. Talk to you next time.